In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can get builders for your BRR projects, whether you're doing a build close to home or 250 miles away like I do as a remote property investor. Without question of a doubt, the build element of the BRR strategy is what makes or breaks deals. If you don't know much about the BRR strategy, I'm not going to go too much into it now because I've done a video on that. You can see that here, or it'll be in the description below if you want to watch this full video. But it is the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy where you force value up by doing refurbishments. But you've got to get the right builders to make these refurbishments become profitable. Otherwise, they can soon become a big headache and a non-profitable project what goes along with that headache. So you're going to be paying for a headache. So if you don't want to pay that price, first thing you can do is hit that like button. Really helps the algorithms. And as I say all the time, it really helps my ego. But let's get into how you find good builders. How you find good builders is probably, the way I want to share with you in this is probably not what you're expecting. Make sure you stay around to the end as well, by the way. I'll share you you've got to put in the comments what I say and I'll share with you a contract, like an agreement we use with builders. But the way I'm going to share with you to find builders now is probably not a way you're thinking. And I'll tell you for why, is because one of the most powerful ways to find builders is for you to build out yourself, get rid of that, build out yourself an online profile. Excuse me for any spelling mistakes. I'm a bit dyslexic, so this is not a grammatical lesson on how to spell. It just gives you an idea what to do. Building out an online profile. You might be thinking, how do I find builders by building out an online profile? Well, listen, people do business with people they know, like, and trust, and builders are no different. They all work with the people they like. Builders are in massive demand. Look, no matter whether it's builders, I'm not pointing things at builders, I'm not pointing things at anybody. I talk about deal sources, I'm a deal sourcer. I talk about coaches, I'm a coach. I always get builders saying, not all of us are bad. Listen, there's good and bad in every trade. And the thing is, most people are really worried. So if you think of this as a chart like this, they're as a pie chart like this. So I believe maybe 10% maximum, I'd say more like 5%, but maybe 10% of builders or anybody, any trade, any deal source or anything are out to rip you off. This is the section here where people are out to rip you off. So you've got left here 90% of people that are not looking to rip you off, and they've got good intention to deliver on what they want to do. But unfortunately, good intentions does not build Rome. So out of that 90% that's left, I believe another 10% of them can deliver on their good intentions. So that means you've got 80%. In fact, let's change that colour. In fact, you've got, let's put that in red to emphasise that loads. We've got 80% of people who've got good intentions but can't deliver on their good intentions. And there's a number of reasons people can't deliver on their good intentions. Number one is because they're just not skilled enough to deliver on it. And most people haven't got the self-awareness to know they're not good at something they do. How many of you work in an office where people, they're bad team members, or work anywhere, office, factory, building site, there's bad team members, but they think they're good at what they do. How many people do you know that are bad drivers, yet how many people do you know admit they're a bad driver? So most people think they're better than they actually are at things. So some people are just not skilled. I think that's a small percentage of them. But a lot of these people are skilled, and some of them have just not got the effort or the motivation or the organisation, often organisations sometimes, and some of them haven't got the capacity to take on what they take on. So some good builders that are really good can't manage their diary. So they start off here because they're good, they're skilled enough, but they drop into this section really quickly because they take on too many jobs. That is a very common thing with builders. So what everybody's fighting for is this little section here, the 10%. So everybody's out after looking for this 10% out of this whole market of builders that are reliable, can deliver on their time, don't overbook their diary, and decently priced. But the thing is, what you've got to understand is price goes, the more demand you've got, the higher your prices can usually go. So you've got to weigh this up on what sort of style job you want, and you've got to make trade-offs for this when you're finding builders. So, and I'll come back to this online profile bit in a minute, don't panic on that. But you've got to think about this here. So if this is a little chart over here, and this is your high-end builders over here, we'll mark them as a 10, and this is, let's change the colour on that again just to give a bit more emphasis. So This is your high-end builders at 10% and 0% are the ones you don't want to work with. The more you go further up this scale, the higher the prices. You will never find a builder that is a 10% and really reasonably priced, because they know their worth. Or if you do find one, I'll tell you how you find these sometimes is when you find new startups. So somebody who's self-employed, just gone on their own, they sometimes are really reasonably priced just because they want the work. But then as soon as they get in demand, and because they're so good, they get in demand just from word of mouth, they will get in demand and then their prices will creep up. So you really, really need to be on the lookout for builders all the time, because even if you do find somebody like this, you won't hang on to it for long, in my experience. You might luck out on that, but you don't want to rely you're building your wealth and building your portfolio on luck. So you want to have a good system of finding builders. So you're vying for this 10%. And the thing is, they can be picky about who they work with. And their preconceived perception of property investors is they're going to be demanding. They're going to want everything done for nothing. They're going to want everything done yesterday. So you've got to then demonstrate to them why you're worth working with. Hence why you want to build out an online profile. 90% of people today in business are online, including builders. So what you want to do is build out a profile to show them that you do what you say you're going to do. And it makes you much more attractive to want to work with them, for them to want to work with you. And there's a couple other things you can do to make it more attractive for them to want to work with you, is go a bit more prepared. Because the thing is, when you look at this chart here, the thing with this, most people go to a builder and say, I want a quote, I want it broken down and all these things. Builders, unless you've got a big team, if you've got a big team, that's factored into the price. So you never, like, you've got to look at the scale of price of what you want to pay. So let's put price underneath here. And the thing is, with a lot of BRR deals, price is important. There's a ceiling level of the property, of the properties. So this is a high-end price, this is a low-end price. And there's a ceiling point. If you go too low on this graph here, down here, the problem is there'll be so many snags and problems, it end up costing you more, and especially in time, it probably takes longer, it ends up costing you more. But you go too high up here and you want the broken down quotes and the great service and the good customer service, what ends up happening is when you go up here is builders are not admin people. So they're usually got people in the office and big teams, people underneath them, so they've got insurances, they've got low, like, office staff members to do the quotes and the breakdown down stuff and systems. So that's factored into the price. So what I like to do on BRR deals, typically, if I'm doing a bigger one, I'm more up this way. So if I'm doing a bigger refurbishment, like 50, 100K plus refurbishments, you want to be above this barrier here. You don't want to be lower on with the higher end refurbishments. But on the lower end refurbishments, you want to be in between this barrier probably. The thing is, the lower you go down, the more you have to manage them. So that one of the tricks you can do to attract them is, one, have a good online profile to show them that you're credible at what you do and that you've done diligence about your area. Even if you've never done deals before, just document what you're up to get your first deal and show them that you're credible. And touch points really, really count. But then another thing you can do as well is be prepared. So if you go to a builder with your spec, well, I'm testing myself and spelling here, a program of works, I'll just put a PW, program of works, and a list of what you want to do, and an agreement. I'll put an A for agreement just to be quick on there. If you go to with a spec, so you list out everything you want, what materials you want from where. It's a bit more time consuming, but as I said, these are not admin. These people in this barrier are not admin people. So if you can go to them with a list of all the jobs you want doing and a sheet showing the time scale, all they've got to do is look over that and go, yeah, that works. Because a lot of these builders in this bracket here will go, look around a job, half the time they're not even got a notepad with them, and go, yeah, it's about that. Or they go away, they really dread trying to work it out. And some of these won't even come back to you because they've not got the time to just work out that quote. But if you go to them with a spreadsheet which has got every job you want doing on there, and you have to learn this, by the way, but you've got on this spreadsheet, you've got a list down this side here of all the jobs you want to do. So you've got the rip out at the start, you've got your first fix underneath that, you put the jobs down, you've got your plastering underneath that, and you put it down in a list of order. And what you do with this spreadsheet is you have this is week 1, week 2, week 3, and then you say, okay, on these days in week 1 we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 days for the rip out, and then crossing over the rip out we're doing 3 days for the first fix electrics, and a day for the first fix plumbing because you've not got loads on there. And then you start dotting this out, and then you say this much for the plastering, and you just go across this and start dotting this out. I'm in the wrong place here. This much for the plastering, didn't put first fix plumbing in there, but you get the drift of where I'm going from there. And if they can just look over this and go, okay, you've given a week and a half for the plastering, you've given 4 days, they'll go, that's realistic. So then straight away they can quote you really quickly. And again, if you've got next to that a long list of your specs, I want a Howden's kitchens or a magnet kitchens, I want Howden's doors, door joins, I want these handles, and you put a list, and especially with the product code next to it, this does 2 things. One, makes it easier for them, because you can say, look, I can either supply these materials on site when you need them, or if you can get them at the same price I can, then great. But it also helps you negotiate, because what will happen is they will know that you know the price of these materials. So again, this makes you much more appealable to, even not these higher end ones, this makes you much more appealable to want to work with. So these are the 2 things that you can do to find and attract builders and build out better relationships with them. Also, if you want to see a few projects where we use these methodologies to get builders on, there's a video I've done of some of our recent projects that we've done refurbs on, so you can see the different style refurbs as well. As I said, if you stayed around to the end, what I was going to share with you is an agreement that we use. We use an agreement. If you put builder agreement, please, them 3 words into the comments below, we'll get you sent out a copy of our builder agreement. But also make sure you join my next workshop. On my next free, I'll be how to invest in BRR property remotely and live on your terms workshop. What we'll be doing is showing you how you find builders in depth. We'll show you screenshots of the sheets we use, so you can just on slides, so you can screenshot that, start plugging these systems straight into your builders. I'll show you some scripts that we use to speak to builders, and we'll go a bit more in depth on that on my next workshop. So make sure you register for that. It's bit.ly/invest remotely. The link will also be in the bio. And remember, if you don't evolve your ideas, you never live on your own terms. So evolve your ideas, live on your own terms. Have an amazing day.